Mariners lose 4-2. They fall to 23-20, and they even the series. Well, the Royals really even the series at a game apiece with the rubber match coming on Wednesday. We'll go over the scoring plays. Mariners get on the board. Get on the board? The beard? Mariners beard? The morning Mar. Wow. Luke Raley hits a home run in the fourth inning to make it 1-0 Seattle. Seventh inning, Nelson Velasquez hits a 3-run homer. We will talk a lot about that inning to score Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez. It is 3-1 Kansas City at the end of 7. They get some insurance in the 8th with a Michael Garcia to score. Hunter Renfroe, 4-1. Mariners do get one in the 9th. Mitch Haniger homers to right, 4-2, but the Mariners are unable to add anything else. Ball game. Tough loss. Tough loss with some questionable decisions, some questionable defense, some questionable offense, and a few positives. Let's start with the positives offensively. Great game for Mitch Haniger. 3 for 3 with the homer and the walk. It's so nice to see considering how bad he has been for the overwhelming majority of the season now. Got off to a great first week and a half or so, and since then has been pretty terrible. But he was anything but terrible today. He gets the homer, he gets the walk, he gets a couple of singles. Any success is just really nice to see from him right now. You know, they drop him down to the 6th spot in the lineup. I think that's about right. Had an issue with one spot in the lineup that we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, great game for Mitch Haniger. Luke Raley, you know, I titled the last video, Raley Should Be Daily. I'm very funny. Gets the homer. Doesn't do a whole heck of a lot out of that, but hit a homer, you have a pretty good day. And it's been awesome to see him drive the baseball and play at a much higher level than he was over the first couple of weeks of the season. I think that's it offensively. Julio hit a couple of bars. I cannot talk today. Is talking important? Is that why you guys watch these videos? Is to hear eloquent words? Because I'd look elsewhere. I would look elsewhere for sure. No, Julio does hit a couple balls hard. Nearly murders a pitcher. Once again, second time he's done that in the last 4 games or so. It's pretty much it offensively for the positives. Pitching, I'm putting Logan Gilbert in the positives for this, but we'll talk about Logan Gilbert in the negative section, unfortunately. I thought he pitched pretty darn well, especially the first 4 innings. I thought his stuff looked excellent. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But overall, I thought he pitched well. Had to battle command, especially late. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I like to pretend there's somebody yelling at me. But Chris, what about this? What about this? Not really. I thought he pitched well. We'll get to it. Kirby Snead gets the strikeout. Cody Bolton throws a shutout inning. Just can't trust those guys in high leverage, but they got the job done today. All right, there's some negative stuff that we got to talk about. But first, Simply Seattle, thank you so much for providing the very best in Seattle sports gear. Great stuff for your Mariners, of course, but also the Huskies, the Kraken, the Seahawks, the Storm, Sounders, Huskies, Cougars. You can find it all at simplyseattle.com. And once you do find it all, use code MOLLYWOP15 to take 15% off your order. The 30% is gone. That was a fun little run that we had, but you still can get 15% off your order, and it's a great deal that shows that you're supporting the show. Thank you so much. MOLLYWHOP15 at checkout, and then www.simplyseattle.com. On the description of this video, and there will be a link to take you right there. All right, so the negatives here are kind of weird to talk about because I'm still not 100% sure Scott Servais did the wrong thing. I saw Logan Gilbert tiring, and I thought my buddy Jason Churchill brought this up, or I saw my buddy Jason Churchill brought it up. I didn't think it. I saw it. That it did look like he was tiring, which was weird because he hadn't thrown a whole heck of a lot of pitches. But you could see the command start to wane. But he had thrown 6 shutout innings. And unfortunately, especially with your high leverage guys having to work yesterday, you didn't really have a choice but to give him that seventh inning. Here's what I'll say. I had very little issue with Logan Gilbert starting that inning. I think he left him in too long. Now, having said that, Logan Gilbert should have gotten out of that inning because Josh Rojas, I know you can't assume the double play. You got to make that play. Should have been out of the inning. Should have been out of the inning. But unfortunately, a double play ball doesn't turn into a double play at all. Botches it. And, it ends up leading to the 3-run homer. And it was a bad pitch to Nelson Velasquez. So, that's on him too. But I think it was probably a mistake to rely on him for so long. I didn't mind leaving in Gilbert to start the inning, like I said. And unfortunately, the way they lined up today, it didn't really make sense to go to Gabe Spire. It's a tough one. It was a tough one. Ideally there, you'd be able to go to, a Matt Brasher or Gregory Santos. Sports are tough. Sports are real tough sometimes. So I give, what's the right way to put it? I give Servais blame for leaving Gilbert in as long as he did, but didn't mind Gilbert starting the inning. I hope that makes sense. I think that's what probably everybody is thinking. It's just hard right now because the high leverage guys, you have a high leverage guy. The guys behind Munoz right now aren't good enough. And, we saw Trent Thornton, he gets the final out of the inning, gives up a hit and a run. I think a lot of people look at that ERA and think that Trent Thornton has been pitching outstanding. That's just on the contrary. And I just don't trust him in high leverage situations. And that was a high leverage situation. Down by 2, it maybe is less high leverage than, tie game, up by 1, that sort of thing. But it's still an important situation. And I just can't trust Trent Thornton to get the job done. I can't. I will remain skeptical of Trent Thornton, and it's nothing to do with Trent Thornton. It's not an insult to him that he's only a guy that I want to use in middle innings of baseball games. But I just don't trust him. Could be just me. I don't think it is. I've had some people talk to me about him. Bummer, because Gilbert was so good, especially over those first 4 innings. You saw him wane a little bit in the 5th and 6th, but he deserved better than today, in my humble estimation. Offensively and defensively, Josh Rojas had a rough one. Draws a walk, but nah. Ty France I was ready to go on a big rant about Ty France, and maybe I still will. He can't hit third, man. Ty France cannot hit third. He had a good game yesterday. Really good game. You don't move him to the 3rd spot. That really bugged me. And it's not the reason they lost. And he does get 1 hit. But it doesn't make sense to be giving Ty France more at bats than some other guys right now. It doesn't make sense for Ty France hitting more than Luke Raley right now. It doesn't make sense for him to be hitting more than Cal Raleigh. And to be fair, Big Number was bad today too. 0 for 4 with a couple strikeouts and a big strikeout in a big situation. 1st and 3rd, 2 outs, doesn't get the job done, doesn't even come close. But hitting France 3rd just irks me. And lineups, it doesn't matter that much. Lineup construction is something that has basically been somewhat proven to be, outside of having your best hitters hit 1st and 2nd, and, not having terrible hitters hit 3rd and 4th. There's a lot of evidence that suggests that it doesn't matter as much as we think. But I just don't get Ty France in the 3rd spot. I just don't. I don't. Dylan Moore was really bad today. Luis Urias was bad today. Sam Haggerty did hit one ball hard. It was like 109 miles per hour. Just the one strikeout. I thought he had two for some reason. I just assume everyone strikes out twice in this lineup, I guess. So all around, not a very well played game for the Seattle Mariners. This would have been a very fortunate win. Now, the good news is you did get the win yesterday. You've got a great chance for a win tomorrow. I believe it's Alec Marsh against Luis Castillo. Let's just make sure about that. I know it's Alec Marsh for Kansas City. No, excuse me, it's Wu. Maybe I just want Luis Castillo to pitch. Nothing against Wu. It's great that he's going to be able to get back on the mound. But, yeah. I think a series win here is important. If only because the odds of you winning the next two series aren't all that great. New York and Baltimore are really good baseball teams. And you know what? I think Kansas City is a pretty good one too. Not of that level, but I can easily see Kansas City being a playoff team. It'd be really because they went out and they tried. They went out and they spent some money. And people went gaga or the opposite of gaga. They went ballistic because why would you spend money when you're not a contender? No, you spend money to become a contender. And you give yourself a better product for your fans to watch too. I'm so done with that. Another video for another time. Would you have left Gilbert in for as long as Servais did? Very curious to see. Leave it in the comments. Hit like, hit subscribe. Really appreciate the support. Live video tomorrow, or not a live video. We'll do it. Well, we will go live. Yeah. Let's do a live tomorrow. Let's do a live recap. I just came up with that in my head. We'll do a live recap right around 5 o'clock. Talk about the game. And then for Mile Y enthusiasts, I will have a video up for subscribers. It's $4.99 a month. We'll look at some trade candidates in the National League. And we'll do something similar every month where we look at those guys until we get to the deadline. Really appreciate the support. Really wish the Mariners would have won this game. And sorry, Walter. You were better than you deserved.